I think what I would tell you is that the bigger principle, and we've talked about this a lot, Jason, is that in capitalism, when you over-earn for enough of a time, what happens is competitors decide to try to compete away your earnings. In the absence of a monopoly, the amount of time that you have tends to be small and it shrinks. So in the case of a monopoly, for example, take Google, you can over-earn for decades. And it takes a very, very long time for somebody to try to displace you. We're just starting to see the beginnings of that with things like Perplexity and other services that are chipping away at the Google monopoly. But at some point in time, all of these excess profits are competed away. In the case of NVIDIA, what you're now starting to see is them over-earn in a very massive way. So the real question is, who will step up to try to compete away those profits? The old Bezos quote, right? Your margin is my opportunity. And I think we're starting to see, and you've mentioned Grok, who had a super viral moment, I think, this week. But you're starting to see the emergence of a more detailed understanding of what this market actually means. And as a result, who will compete away the inference market? Who will compete away the training market? And the economics of that are just becoming known to now more and more people to make money, right? Otherwise, you're going to look really foolish for having spent 20 and 30 and $40 billion. So Nick, if you just go back to the revenue slide of NVIDIA, I can try to give you a framing of this, at least the way that I think about it. So if you look at this, like what you're talking about is, look, who is going to spend $22.1 billion? Well, you said it, Jason, it's all a big tech. Why? Because they have that money on the balance sheet sitting idle. But when you spend $22 billion, their investors are going to demand a rate of return on that. And so if you think about what a reasonable rate of return is, call it 30, 40, 50%, and then you factor in, and that's profit, and then you factor in all of the other things that need to support that, that $22 billion of spend needs to generate probably $45 billion of revenue. And so, Jason, the question to your point, and to Friedberg's point, the $64,000 question is, who in this last quarter is going to make $45 billion on that $22 billion of spend? And again, what I would tell you, to be really honest about this, is that what you're seeing is more about big companies muscling people around with their balance sheet and being able to go to NVIDIA and say, I will give you committed pre-purchases over the next 3 or 4 quarters, and less about, here is a product that I'm shipping that actually makes money, which I need enormous more compute resources for. It's not the latter. Most of the apps, the overwhelming majority of the apps that we're seeing in AI today, are toy apps that are run as proofs of concept and demos and run in a sandbox. It is not production code. This is not, we've rebuilt the entire autopilot system for the Boeing, and it's now run with agents and bots and all of this training. That's not what's happening. So it is a really important question. Today, the demand is clear. It's the big guys with huge gobs of money. And by the way, NVIDIA is super smart to take it because they can now forecast demand for the next 2 or 3 quarters. I think we still need to see the next big thing. And if you look in the past, what the past has showed you, it's the big guys don't really invent the new things that make a ton of money. It's the new guys who, because they don't have a lot of money and they have to be a little bit more industrious, come up with something really authentic and new.
Yeah, constraint makes for great art. Yeah.
We haven't seen that yet. Yeah. So I think the revenue scale will continue for like the next 2 or 3 years, probably, for NVIDIA. But the real question is, what is the terminal value? And it's the same thing that Sachs showed in that Cisco slide. People ultimately realized that the value was going to go to other parts of the stack, the application layer. And as more and more money was accrued at the application layer of the internet, less and less revenue multiple and credit was given to Cisco. And that's nothing against Cisco because their revenue continued to compound, right? And they did an incredible job.
As the top provider of graphics processing units for AI data centers, NVIDIA is at the vanguard of a technological revolution. With demand for its products significantly exceeding the excitement around NVIDIA is not limited to its recent achievements. It also encompasses its much more bright future. Any investor would be captivated by CEO Jensen Huang's bold forecast of a $1 trillion investment in data center infrastructure for AI over the next 4 years. But this could only be the beginning. As NVIDIA's Blackwell GPUs make their way into tech behemoths like Microsoft, the implications for financial growth are not only substantial, but revolutionary. So, what implications does this have for NVIDIA's stock? Let's explore that. But first, a big thank you to those of you who've stuck with us this far. Creating these videos takes significant effort and dedication, so if you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts on NVIDIA stock in the comments. Your support truly helps us grow. Now let's get back to the video.
We've talked in the show, this is just the beginning. I mean, I think this is ultimately going to be another 2-3 year bull market for tech because it's a fourth industrial revolution that's playing out in front of us, and that's going to be big tech and the multiplier. And I think it's only 10 p.m. in the AI party that goes to 4 a.m.
Yeah. Have you gotten any later in the party, or are we still? It's always kind of early, isn't it? I mean, it's been a year now, but we're still at 10 p.m. Oh, we started at 9. Okay.
Started at 9. Now we're 10 p.m. And look, we think tech stocks are up another 25% over the next year. And I think NASDAQ 25,000 a year from now is something that we're going to start talking about going into the end of next year, early 26.
Yeah, so much of this, there it is, the last line there, so much of this depending on, the numbers are staggering. We talk about them all the time, quarter to quarter. But you think AI CapEx is going to exceed $1 trillion. Why? In 2025, I should say. Yeah, why? Yeah,
it's everything we're seeing. Look, that's why we travel the globe, right? It's trying to understand where the AI CapEx is and what's happening in the market. I think Street's underestimating AI CapEx potential by 30 to 40%. And I think the biggest thing here is the multiplier. For every dollar spent on an NVIDIA chip, there's an 8 to 10 multiplier across the rest of tech. That's why you have names like the Messi of AI, Palantir. You have other use cases that are now starting to be in software, Salesforce, front and center. And this is just the beginning. It's get the popcorn out because the rest of tech now sees the benefit.
In 2023, NVIDIA made history with its groundbreaking H100 GPU, which dominated the AI data center chip market and secured an astounding 98% market share. However, like any seasoned performer who doesn't rest on their laurels, NVIDIA has released its Blackwell architecture, which offers a performance boost that makes a quantum jump seem like a hop, skip, and jump. Imagine this. The Blackwell-based VEEP2 200 NVL72 system processes AI inference at 30 times the speed of its predecessor, the H100 system. Enhancement isn't just about speed. It's also about cost effectiveness. For example, a single GB200 GPU costs $83,000, which is double the price of a H100. To stay informed about the latest developments from NVIDIA and the ever-changing stock market, consider subscribing to our investing tutorial channel. We provide daily updates on significant market shifts and key catalysts, so hit that subscribe button to ensure you never miss crucial information. We'd love to hear your thoughts on NVIDIA stock, so please share your opinions in the comments below. Now let's dive into today's video.
Fund their lead tech analyst, Beth Kindig. And Beth, you put some great charts in your report underscoring just the threat to specific computer chip names. Is this one of the reasons why the chip, we're sharing them on the screen right now, you've got Lam Research, you've got ASML, KLAC. Is this one of the reasons you think that we've seen so much pressure in semis in just over the last few weeks?
Hi, Charles. That's a great question, considering we have AI leaders such as NVIDIA taking up all of the attention. Semiconductors topped back in June and July, and we absolutely think some of this is due to tariffs. To put it into perspective, from 2024 to 2025, if these tariffs come into effect, we're tracking a 25% decline in what's called wafer fabrication equipment. This is the equipment that helps to build the chips. For sure, these leaders such as NVIDIA, we think will be quite strong next year, but can they carry the entire ETF? We're finding that NVIDIA is not strong enough to carry all of that pressure.
Right, and to your point, we've seen that. We've seen where the semis in general have got hammered, and NVIDIA has gone back to new highs. Also, though, I read or heard this morning, NVIDIA is hiring in China? What is it that they must, do they know that this tariff thing could be short-lived?
NVIDIA's story with China is quite interesting because they came under very strict export controls 1 to 2 years ago. These AI chips that have been driving so much of the market were seen as a security threat. Therefore, they've had to reduce the generation down, make them a little less powerful in order to sell them to China. However, if you go back to what Jensen Huang has said about China, there is only one China. And what he's trying to say is when you have that kind of massive population, all of them, middle class or above, right. Quite a few of them middle class or above, it is quite hard to.
Microsoft is the tech giant. Titan has become the biggest purchaser of these remarkable GPUs, and their grand vision goes beyond. It appears that they won't be left alone among the tech giants because in addition to improving their own AI capabilities, they intend to provide other AI developers with same computational power through their Azure cloud platform. Web services from Amazon to demonstrate the size, Google's Cloud and Oracle are competing with one another for a piece of NVIDIA's magic. Morgan Stanley analysts forecast an intensification rather than merely a continuation of this progress, as NVIDIA sent 13,000 Blackwell samples in its fiscal 2025 third quarter alone. It is projected that NVIDIA will ship an astounding 300,000 units in the final 3 months of 2024, and a staggering 800,000 in the first quarter of 2025. As Wall Street predicts that NVIDIA's fiscal 2026 sales would soar to unprecedented heights of 195.40 million, according to Morgan Stanley projections. EcoHang's hopeful outlook for just 4 tech giants in 2025 alone, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, and Meta, are expected to invest an incredible $300 billion in AI infrastructure. Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your input helps create a more knowledgeable community where we can all learn and grow together in the world of investing. Stay up to date with the latest market trends, insights, and key updates by subscribing to Investing Tutorial. We're here to help you make smarter investment decisions and stay ahead of the curve.
Yesterday, we were just talking about CPUs being replaced by GPUs, and now it's QPUs, right? I don't know about you, but I think it may have saved Google, or potentially could save Google, because I hardly use it as much as I use it for search and things like that. Do you think, Willow, is it too early to judge whether or not it can live up to the hype, this whole quantum thing in your mind?
I do. Quantum computing is very, very early. You can think of it as autonomous vehicles or what they call high-performance computing, which are the supercomputers that governments use. These are really R&D departments that will take some time before Wall Street sees the profits that Wall Street likes to reward. If I were to guess, I think we are minimum 10 years out before we see a commercialized application for quantum computing.
All right, before I let you go, so the last 3 weeks there's been an interesting theme in this market. Companies that report and can mention AI in a positive way get rewarded really nicely, right? We saw it last week, in the last few weeks with names like Salesforce.com. I'm looking at Oracle, and you had posted a chart there, and I think they said everything right, but the stock didn't react the same. Is it because the shares are already up, or is the market starting to really define true AI winners from those true AI also-rans?
That's a great question, Charles. Of course, a company like Oracle will get into AI. Of course, a company like Salesforce will get into AI. But will we see those exponential moves like what we saw with NVIDIA? I would be cautious there. I really continue to like the hardware layer. The hardware is where a lot of these problems are being solved. As we look into 2025, I had said Blackwell's revenue for NVIDIA will exceed 2023 and 2024 combined. The complexity of that hardware is going up 4 to 8 times from what we just saw in 2024. That is really where you want to be concentrated, and that's not quite where Oracle.
When all of these factors are taken into consideration, NVIDIA finds itself in a strong position with a path to rising above $800 per share by 2025. Its powerful combination of market dominance in AI-enabled GPUs, significant pricing power, and a growing demand curve make for an alluring investment story as more businesses prepare to align capital into AI infrastructure. Nvidia's story not only stays untarnished, but also ascends to new chapters of growth and opportunity. The stock, which once seemed expensive, is now on the verge of being undervalued, with the potential to soar by next year due in part to the future prospects of their Rubin architecture, a sleeper story waiting to be revealed. In an era of such innovation and expansion, one may wonder if investment is really necessary, but the timing of it may be perfect. Lastly, if you want to see what companies like Nvidia have been up to lately, click on the next video on your screen, and I'll see you there.